So, what if I told you that a ruthless 500-year-old political manual written for Renaissance princes actually holds the key to mastering your own mind today? It sounds a little crazy, I know, but we're about to explore how the brutal strategies of Niccolo Machiavelli can be turned inward to build some serious self-discipline. The philosopher Blaise Pascal wrote this centuries ago, and it just cuts right to the heart of the matter. What he's really saying is that our biggest battles aren't against other people or the world outside. Nope, they're against the chaos raging inside our own heads, our failure to just sit and face ourselves. That's the root of almost all our problems. Okay, so to really get how to use this playbook, we've got to understand the man who wrote it. Niccolo Machiavelli didn't just dream this stuff up in a cozy library. He wrote The Prince from a place of absolute political ruin, desperate to figure out how power is really won, and more importantly, how it's held. To get The Prince, you have to get the world it came from. Machiavelli was living in this total mess of a fragmented Italy. It was just constant war between different city-states. He was an ambassador, so he had a front-row seat to watch rulers rise and fall, often brutally. And then in 1512, boom, his own government gets overthrown, he's arrested, tortured, and then exiled. And it's from that place, total defeat, that he writes this book. It wasn't philosophy. It was a hardcore practical guide on how to survive in a violent and unpredictable world. And believe me, his advice was shockingly direct. He said a new prince has to eliminate his rivals, and he has to do it quickly and completely. His big point was that it's way better to be feared than to be loved, because fear, well, fear is something you can control. He also said a ruler had to be two things at once: a lion, for that raw, fearsome strength, and a fox, for that cunning, sly strategy. See, this wasn't about being a good person. It was about survival and keeping order. Okay, and this is where it gets really interesting. What happens if we take this entire political strategy and we apply it not to a kingdom of subjects and land, but to the kingdom inside our own head? What if the real enemy isn't some rival city-state, but your own procrastination, your own doubt, your own worst habits? And that leads us to the core idea here. Your mind is a territory. It's a kingdom, and it is filled with competing factions, potential rebellions, and traitors. And you have to govern it with the same seriousness and strategy that a prince would apply to their own state. I mean, just think about the parallels for a second. A prince is dealing with rival states, external threats, disloyal subjects. You're dealing with competing desires. You know, that voice that says, go to the gym, versus the one that says, one more episode won't hurt. You face internal weaknesses like fear and laziness, and you are constantly dealing with your own acts of self-sabotage. It is the exact same battle, just being fought on a different field. So this is maybe the most important takeaway. Forget everything you've ever heard about discipline being about motivation or waking up feeling inspired. That's nonsense. From a Machiavellian point of view, discipline is internal war. There is no neutral ground here. You are either the ruler of your own impulses or you are their prisoner, period. Now, to win this war, Machiavelli gives us two really important concepts. The first is virtue. And no, this isn't about moral virtue, it's your inner power. It's your skill, your discipline, your resilience. It's your ability to actually shape your world. And what's fighting against your virtue? Well, that's fortuna. Think of it as chaos, as fate, as the universe just throwing curveballs at you. It's all the unpredictable stuff that can completely wreck anyone who isn't ready for it. Look, you can't control fortuna. You can't stop the storm from hitting, but you can build your defenses. You build these dikes of discipline, things like strong habits, that non-negotiable morning workout, a mindset that sees failure as just data, not as defeat. A disciplined mind can take a hit from fate that would absolutely crush an unprepared one. But winning this war, it's not all about brute force and action. It's also about strategy. And where does a ruler go to strategize? They go into solitude. This isn't about hiding from the world. It's about building an internal fortress where you can actually forge your strength. And we have to be super clear about something here. There is a huge difference between loneliness and solitude. Loneliness is that negative feeling of lack, right? It's that pain of missing other people. But solitude? Solitude is a positive state of fullness. It's when you choose to be with yourself. It's a sanctuary where you can think clearly, where you can strategize. It's where a ruler sharpens their mind. Now, this is not easy at all. As the psychologist Carl Jung said, really facing yourself is terrifying. The whole point of solitude is to confront who you actually are, your flaws, your weaknesses, your fears, all of it. But it's only in that brutally honest self-assessment that real strength can even begin to grow. So, how do you actually do this? Well, you can start by having meetings with your own mind. Just sit quietly, 15 minutes a day, no phone, no distractions. Just let your thoughts come up. Next, you have to consciously work to shed all those societal labels. You are so much more than your job or what you look like. And finally, define yourself by what you are not. Knowing what you absolutely refuse to tolerate, that's what gives you the power to say no. That's how you build the borders of your inner kingdom. All right, let's pull all these threads together now. By combining Machiavelli's ruthless strategies for running a state with the quiet power of solitude, we can actually create a whole new philosophy for mastering the territory of our own lives. So let's translate this into a modern game plan. When Machiavelli talks about securing the state, for you that means building a rock-solid routine to get rid of all that internal chaos. When he says to eliminate your rivals, for you that means conquering procrastination and fear. How? By doing that one thing you're dreading first thing in the morning. Being a lion and a fox, that means acting with both strength and smarts to master your impulses. And building a fortress, that means practicing strategic solitude to find clarity and build resilience. When you strip everything else away, it all comes down to one single core idea. Forget about conquering kingdoms or controlling other people. In the world we live in today, the greatest form of power, the only power that truly, deeply matters, is absolute mastery over yourself. That is the ultimate prize. So the final question is for you. Your mind, your time, your focus, all of that is your territory. And every single day, you have to make a choice. Are you going to let your impulses and weaknesses rule over you, turning you into a prisoner in your own life? Or are you going to take command and become its prince?